All right, guys, we are live. Welcome to the debut episode of Rooting for Laundry. I'm your host, Johnny McDonald, and we're going to talk about, this is a show about fandom and memories of your favorite sports team. Usually I'll interview a guest each week about their favorite sports team and how they became to grow in love with your favorite sports team. Me, as you know, if you know me, I'm a Mets, Jets, Knicks, Rangers fan, and today we're going to cover the Knicks, and I have the perfect guest for all your Knicks fandom, all your memories. I became a Knicks fan around 1988. My first exposure to Knicks basketball was, they used to come on, I didn't have cable, so they used to come on Channel 9 on Saturdays, and they would play the road games. Any road game, it'd be broadcasted on Channel 9. And I watched Patrick Ewing, Mark Jackson's rookie year. This was before Oakley. I remember Bill Cartwright was there. Then they made a trade for Cartwright to Oakley the year after. And I became a fan since. I didn't have cable until maybe around 94, but I used to go to a friend's house to watch games and keep up with the Knicks. If you're a big fan of the Knicks, you know the Knicks, the 90s Knicks were everything to a lot of people, and it was a big deal in the city. We went to the finals in 1994, had a good playoff run from once Pat Riley came in 1992. That was around the first game I went to, 1992, when Pat Riley came in, and we got players like Xavier McDaniel. John Starks came in the year before that, but we had a good team, and the playoff run was there. There were a lot of winning basketball in New York. Didn't equal up to a championship, but the Knicks made 2 NBA finals and had great playoff runs between 92 and around 2000, 2001. Then streak stops. Days right now, Knicks fans, it sucks. Let's keep it real. It hasn't been great, but hopefully we'll get back to the good old days where we can actually win a championship. Now I'm going to bring in my guest. No perfect Knicks fan. I've known this guy for a very long time. He's been the greatest Knicks fan. I thought I was a big Knicks fan, then I met this dude. I'm like, all right. He is a big Knicks fan. You probably saw his feature commercials on the MSG Network. Yeah, he's the voice of his own podcast, 33rd and 7th. He's interviewed tons of celebrities and talked about Knicks fandom. And he is the leader of the Orange Blue Crew. And he's a native of the Bronx. Bringing on my man, Anthony Donahue. Anthony, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing okay. I mean, doing as best as I can be during this wacky thing that's going on in the world. Now, obviously, we're not going to make this a Corona show, but obviously I don't think anybody thought, 4 weeks later, it's been 26 days since the NBA was suspended, and I don't think anybody thought, if you go back to, February when this was a topic, that, 4 weeks later we'd be inside and, not doing anything, and restaurants would be closed, and we wouldn't be going to the Garden or your favorite arena or stadium. So it's been a crazy 4 weeks, challenging, but, we're all in this together, and, follow the rules, and, yeah, here we are.
Yeah, a lot of sports got canceled. No, this is supposed to be opening week for baseball. No baseball. There's really not all sports are canceled around the globe except for WrestleMania. Did you watch WrestleMania last time?
And that's your thing. I went to. I'll be honest with you. No offense. I went to WrestleMania at your house in 2008.
I remember.
Robin Lundberg was there. Arthur was there.
This was a fun time. Yeah.
No, you motherfuckers are weird, crazy.
Yeah.
I will never come again, and I haven't.
Yeah.
I love you all, but y'all creeped me out that night.
Yeah, I know. It was like I remember you brought 2 girls over, and it was like, oh, this is gonna be a party.
Yeah, y'all creeped me out. That's what you love. I'm not even mad. That was out. Yeah. I had a good time, but life is definitely crazy right now. For us, and I don't know when we're gonna be back. I love when people will like text me and be like, when do you think life's gonna be normal again? But none of us know. It's like we're all just guessing. We
really don't know.
Yeah, if you would have told me on March 1st that life wouldn't be normal April 7th, today's date, I believe it's April 7th, I would have been like, you're crazy. Like, nobody.
Exactly.
And now I'm like, is May 1st normal? Is June 1st normal? You mentioned baseball season. I've been going through my own personal stuff with my sister the last 6 months, and I had a trip planned to California the end of March, early April, and I wasn't going to go, but I had talked to her doctors and some friends, and she has 24-hour care at the house, so I planned the trip. I was going to go to a Lakers game, a Clippers game, and I was going to hit Dodgers opening day. I mean,
nice.
This was going to be a great week in LA. Obviously, it did not happen. I had to cancel the flight, cancel everything, but I mean, this was going to be a week that I needed personally. And,
Absolutely.
like Dodger Stadium. I went to the Yankees-Dodgers last year. You talk about a great place to watch a game.
I went there too. It's beautiful.
It's probably one of the oldest venues in sports. It's you feel the authenticity in that place, and I was really looking forward to that. And I was going to go.
Every baseball stadium got upgraded in the last.
I think the only baseball stadiums left that are old are Fenway, Wrigley, and Dodger Stadium. I think.
Yeah. Oakland's old too. They don't know what.
Yeah, I guess Oakland. Yeah, they still play in that football stadium. But going to Yankees Dodgers last year, that was one of the dopest experiences I've ever had as a sports fan.
Oh, absolutely.
They only play once every 4 or 5 years. So
that's definitely.
I ran into John Broder there.
Oh yeah. JB's the man. He goes everything.
I was with him the whole game, so we were sitting behind the Yankee dugout.
That had to be a dope experience. All right, let's get to your start. Let's get to your start, of your fandom of it. This is your life through the Knicks, basically.
It is my life.
Yeah. So you were born in the Bronx and you were raised in Walton, New York, right?
Yes, I was. I was born in the Bronx, November 17th, 1983, at Jacobi Hospital, and at Bronx in July of 1992.
And then you went to Walton, so that you were around 11 when you went to Walton. 8. Okay. So At that time, you became a Knicks fan in Walton, right?
So if you would have said to me in the middle of second grade at PS 83, and they're asking in the Bronx, who's your favorite basketball team? I would have said the Knicks. But truth be told, the Knicks were my fifth love as far as sports. It was number 1 Rangers, number 2.
Oh, so you were hockey
was my first. Now, a lot of times we're not with our first love in the end. Hockey is first love. So if you would ask me to rank my teams as a second grader, I'm not sure how articulate I would have been. But my team: Rangers 1, Yankees 2, Giants 3, St. John's 4, Knicks.
Gotcha.
Now this is as a second grader.
This is second grader, so.
Right.
Yeah.
So I liked the Knicks. I knew who Ewing was. I knew who Starks was. I knew who Greg Anthony was. I knew who everybody was, Oakley, all that shit. I followed the Rangers like crazy. 91, 92.
Brian Leach, Mark Messier,
Brian Leach, Aaron Turcotte, John Van Beesbrook, Mike Barton. So I'm throwing out my hockey names right now. So and I was playing in a roller hockey league in the Bronx in 3rd grade.
Oh wow.
I was a good player too. I was a very skilled hockey player, and I wasn't even hooping yet. Now, for those that know me, y'all know I could hoop.
I played a game. It's pretty intense. Playing a game with Anthony Donahue.
But I was not even hooping in 3rd grade. I was straight hockey. To be the next Wayne Gretzky. And then Walton, we played some hockey up there, but they didn't have organized hockey up there.
Okay. So let everybody know real quick where Walton is, because if you
Walton is
it's not in Westchester County.
No. Walton is in Delaware County, 150 miles from the Bronx.
Okay, and that's when as a second grader, your Knicks weren't a priority, but now how did they become a priority? When did your fandom heighten? When was the first? Who made you experience Knicks basketball at first? Was it a family member or a friend or anybody like that?
No. That's the point thing. So to my family, the guy who got me to a lot of my sporting events growing up was my uncle, and he liked the Knicks, but he didn't love basketball. He was a big Rangers fan, big Yankees fan. He actually got me into St. John's. He actually used to work for a printing press, and I used to ride with him when I was 6, 7 years old, and he delivered the programs to Alumni Hall.
Oh, nice. So your uncle was basically your introduction.
Yeah, but he wasn't that into the Knicks, though. He got me into him, and my grandfather got me into the Giants. My grandfather was not into baseball. He was a Brooklyn Dodgers fan, so he was one of those dudes that the Dodgers left, and I'm sure you know older cats like that. When the Dodgers left Brooklyn,
they went with them.
Football game again.
Yeah. Some people either rooted for the Mets or they just went with they still
Right.
stuck with the
He
Dodgers
wasn't
or stopped watching baseball.
correct. So he wasn't into basketball. My uncle, he was a Knicks fan. He was there for Walt Frazier and them, but he wasn't into it like that. So when I moved upstate, there was no hockey. And like basketball, damn, a sneeze coming on. I don't have corona.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. Sorry.
All right, all good. We're more than 6. We're 6 miles more than 6 miles away. So
well, it is a weird, not to change topics. It's a weird time for me with this because a lot of us, this is around the time the pollen's going to start coming. So
the allergies and stuff. Yeah.
2014, and I've only been sick once in the last 18 years, but I do get allergies every spring. So
you got a strong immune system. That's what the problem is.
I do. A lot of people, wheatgrass and juices for life.
Yeah. So, that's spot you put me on. I've been going there forever now.
Which one? Juices for Life?
Yeah, all of them.
Okay, and you were okay. So anyway, I moved to Walton. I liked basketball. Hockey was not available. We played baseball and wiffle ball, but I always loved basketball before I even really started to play it. My grandparents got me a hoop, and I fell in love with basketball. And I would say in the middle of 4th grade was the 92-93 season. Everybody, and you remember this growing up back in the day.
Oh yeah, that was a big.
I love the Bulls.
Yeah, I had beef with there was a lot of Bulls fans because of Jordan. I mean, Jordan's a once in a lifetime player. I get it if you were a Bulls fan back then.
Right. Everybody loved the Bulls. Okay, so I was not everybody. So I would say I became a psychotic Knicks fan. Where it took with the Knicks, it just straight took over my life. Where the Yankees, I love the Yankees. Where the Rangers, I mean, at the time, I loved the Rangers. The Knicks took over my life. And I would say it was around the All-Star game in 93 in Utah. I just remember watching the game, and I'm like, okay, I really love Patrick Ewing. And then I started watching the Knicks a little more to finish the 93 season. And then this is a weird caveat to my Knicks fan. That nobody else can say unless you're from Walton. Start in 1993. Who we the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah.
So the starting center of the Indiana Pacers was dating someone from Walton, New York. I believe even married.
Oh, Rick Smith, right?
He lived in Walton in the offseason.
Okay, because I know he went to Marist College, and that's not that far.
Mind you, Walton is a very small town. So I saw Rick, my first summer living in Walton, I saw Rick in town all the time. And people would just be obsessed. So
the Dunking Dutchman, yep.
Right. So obviously everybody loved the Bulls. But in a small town upstate, not only did everybody love the Bulls, but a lot of people loved the Pacers.
Because of Rick Smith and him being around.
So now we're playing the Pacers in the first round of the 1993 playoffs, and my Knicks fandom just went OD.
Oh, yeah.
Headbutts Reggie Miller.
Yep, I remember those good times.
And
this was before the Reggie Miller
coming out party, though. The Reggie Miller coming out party was Game 5 of the 1994 second round when he exploded for 25 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I remember the choke sign with Spike. Yeah, that was
Spike was wearing the Brooklyn Dodgers jersey. So the first round in 93, my fandom exploded. We beat Indiana. John Starks headbutts Reggie. We beat the Hornets. And then in the conference finals, we lose to the Bulls. We go excuse me.
The Charles Smith game.
We go up to nothing to the Bulls. I remember watching the Charles Smith game. As hurt as I was 9 years old. So I'm like, back next year. And I was devastated the Charles Smith game.
We World War. Yeah. So, now, real quick, was your first game in that same year?
No.
First actual live attended? Huh?
The next year.
Like 94, 95, or 93, 94?
That was 92, 93. The first game I went to was during the 93, 94 season. So now that summer of 93, I basically I married the Knicks. This is
basically, that's where it was fun. The Bulls, the Knicks Bulls rivalry was there because I remember the year before in '92 we took them to 7 games.
This is my life.
Now there was a rivalry. Yeah.
Now, as you know, Knicks tickets were extremely hard to get. It wasn't like you just Ticketmaster and you ordered a game.
That's what my next question I was asking you, because I remember waiting on that line, getting up early in the morning, waiting on the line for like 7-8 hours just to get to the
way
front.
I got tickets to my first game, well, my grandmother got them. My uncle brought me. My grandmother got them. She ordered them. So the way it was done was we didn't have season tickets. There wasn't. I guess my uncle didn't know any brokers.
Yeah, nobody knew any. Like you had really.
If we can get into later, I'll talk about the one game I bought from a broker. And I will.
Okay.
That happened later, but so there was an ad in the newspaper around September '93.
Okay. Was it Daily News, New York Post?
I don't remember. One of the newspapers.
Okay.
And I saw it, and it said first half of Knick tickets. So from games 1 to 20, 20 home games are going on sale whenever.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll get you tickets to a game. Mm-hmm. Couldn't get one. Not one game.
Yeah.
I was devastated.
I remember.
One game. And, we weren't rich, so it's not like they were going to, pay some crazy amount. So I was devastated. I'm not going to a game. So then I wouldn't say forgot about it, but, just whatever. Is what it is.
Yeah.
Around early January, I get a call from my uncle who was living in the Bronx, and I was in Walton. And he's like, "What are you doing April 2nd?" That was his exact wording.
Words, wow.
I'm fifth grade. I don't fucking know what I'm doing April 2nd. He's like, "Well, the Knicks play on Saturday night. You want to go to the game?" And I just bugged out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was like hitting the lottery going to a Knicks. My first game was in '92. It wasn't that bad. I remember going like after school and having enough money to go to the box office, and a friend of my father's gave me the money and was like, "Yeah, take him to the game if you can get tickets." So I remember going, and this is like the Pat Riley era. This is before the consecutive sellout. So I remember going in. I think our tickets were like $12 a pop, and we sat up in like
when Riley came, you couldn't get into the building.
Yeah, after 92, 93, when they won the 60 games in 93, that's when it like started hitting the fan, where like every game was sold out.
And the sellout streak actually ended November 2002.
Yeah.
Versus the Bucks.
Yeah.
Right now. So anyway, he says we're going to that game. Sure enough, I wish I had a picture of myself that night. I'm really upset with that. I mean, obviously, you didn't think about.
Yeah, well, we didn't have like camera phones and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course. I have. Yeah. I don't. The first we can get to this later as far as social media and stuff. The first picture I ever have of myself at a Knicks game was in 2003, and I had been to 50 games before then.
I probably met you by then. Yeah.
Yeah. So I never even had a pic. Now I have 1,000 pictures of myself at the Garden.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the games I went to in high school, I have no pictures of myself. I have the game of the players, but there was no social media. So
and you have your ticket stub still, right?
Yeah, I do. I'm looking at it.
I have them. Me too.
So first Knicks game I ever went to was April 2nd, 1994. The New York Knicks were on a 14-game winning streak. They were playing the Miami Heat. Actually, the game started at 8:30.
Miami Heat. That team was what? Glenn Rice, Bimbo Coles.
Glenn Rice, Bimbo Coles,
Steve Smith, I think.
Steve Smith, Brian Shaw, Harold Miner.
Wow. Baby
Grant
Jordan.
Hall, John Sally started at center. Ronnie Cycli was out.
Yeah, he was a big upstaker. He was surfing.
Yes. So a lot of people that I grew up with were very excited I was in Cycli.
Yeah, now he's a DJ.
Yeah, Bimbo Cole. He is. That's right. They said Brian Shaw, Glenn Rice, Harold Miner, Grant Long.
It's funny because my first game in '92 was against the Charlotte Hornets, and so I got to see Larry Johnson, rookie season.
Right.
And 5 years later, and now he's a Knicks icon. You know what I'm saying? So, continue with your first game.
Yeah, so it was a magnificent night. I wore white champion shorts with a blue champion Knicks jersey.
Which jersey?
Ewing.
You had a Ewing. Okay, cool.
Yes.
So everybody was reaching for the Starks when
John Starks did not play. He was out with a knee injury. If you remember, he hurt his knee towards the end of the '94 season.
Mm-hmm. So who played Blackman or Hubert Davis?
Hubert Davis started. The starting lineup at the first Knicks game I ever went to was Derek Harper, Hubert Davis, Anthony Mason, Charles Oakley, and Patrick Ewing. And the reason, if you remember, Anthony Mason always came off the bench.
He was off the bench, yeah.
Charles Smith was out that game as well.
Well, okay, so there was a lot of injuries. Probably, I know
So
Anthony Bonner was on that team too.
Yes, of course. Yep. The Knicks won.
A lot of Anthony was on that team. Greg Anthony.
Yeah. Well, there's a story about Greg Anthony from that game. So the Knicks win, and Ewing nobody on the Knicks had a great game. Ewing played well. Ewing had a dunk. Oakley had a dunk that game. I just never experienced anything like it. I had been to Yankee games. I had been to Ranger games. I had been to the circus. I had never experienced anything like a New York.
It's such a different environment from any sporting event in any sport. You know what I'm saying? You've been to a lot of road games, and nothing comes close to the experience at the Garden. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Nothing does. And so the story I want to tell was, so I didn't know his. Obviously, everybody knows how much I know about the Knicks. The Knicks had a white guy.
The only one, right?
I never knew his name. I just always knew the Knicks had a white guy on the bench. So there's 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. We're up 15, 20 points, and the game's over. All of a sudden, the crowd starts chanting, "We want Eric."
Eric, yep.
Who's Eric? And he's like, the white guy. So the crowd is chanting, and it gets loud. And I don't remember exactly when Pat finally put him in, but I would say he put him in with about 2 minutes left. Bro, 20. If you're 19, to be honest, now they were always adding seats, but everybody remembers that famous number, 19,763 get on their feet when this guy gets in the ridiculous. So
and if who we talk about, it's Eric Anderson. Rest in peace. He passed away earlier, like last year. Rest in peace, Eric Anderson, the 12th man. And like Anthony said, the only white guy on the team.
Right. So now he gets in the game. If I remember correctly, he got in with about 2-3 minutes left, and they're trying to get him a shot, and they just never get him a shot. Now, so now the game's over. Game's over. Greg Anthony's bringing the basketball up the court, and I believe the shot clock is turned off. And Greg called, and Riley was heated.
Yeah.
Eric Anderson to get a three. He finds Eric Anderson. He shoots a three, and he nails it.
And everybody loses their mind.
It was insane. And Riley was pissed. But it was pandemonium.
And that's the only place you could experience stuff like that is the Garden. Everybody knew the team. Everybody knew every single player. Same thing for Herb Williams. When Herb Williams got brought in the game, we won Herb a lot. Just a lot of just the crowd would go crazy. So like I said, let's go through the playoff run from now, like 93, 94. Like when your fandom started, 93, 94, obviously we went to the Eastern Conference Finals. Do you remember watching, like, where did you watch most of the playoff games? At home? And did you
at home?
Yeah. So like the 94 finals, Knicks versus Rockets, probably the most evenly matched NBA finals of all time. Every player and was so evenly matched, like with you and Elijah would just ran through you, and even though both all-star center, both Hall of Famers, perfectly Otis Thorpe,
Olajuwon though. Olajuwon ran through everybody.
Yeah, he was on fire. Because I want to say maybe 2 years ago, Olajuwon didn't I remember he had 1 year where he was kind of off. He wasn't as good as everybody else. But then he just that finals, he just that whole playoff run, he was just tremendous, shaking and baking you in left and right. But like I said, the other starting lineup, Starks and Maxwell, evenly matched. Kenny Smith, Derek Harper, almost evenly matched. Otis Thorpe.
No.
Oh, you give Harper a little bit of an edge. All right, Harper a little bit of an edge. Yeah.
I don't know. I love Kenny, but I don't Derek is way better.
Yeah. And then you had Smith and Robert Ory, who was in a rookie that year. And then Thorpe and Oakley were evenly matched. They were both top 10 rebounders in the league. So watching that.
Smith.
Yeah. I got a real quick story about the 90.
X Factor was Sam Cassell.
Yeah, he killed. I remember that one game. So there's two things I want to bring up. Yeah, real quick about that finals. I remember one of my unique experience of being, I went to the Garden for game 2 of the finals of the closed circuit TV show. You
You could go into the garden, you could watch it on the screen.
On the screen, and it was a sellout crowd. It was like anything.
I experienced that, man. That must have been really freaking cool.
That was pretty cool. It was one of the unique experiences because I think it never happened again. I don't think they did it for. They didn't do it for '99, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think they did. Correct.
Yeah, but for '94 they did it. I went to game 2. The tickets at the time were $5. I forgot, but I remember acting quick on it. Like I went there, it's like got the. I think I remember just either I can't remember if it was a walk-in or I bought it in advance, but I remember the tickets were $5, and it was a sellout. It was like a normal game, just we watch it on the screen. And they won game 2.
Ice down though?
Huh?
Was the ice down?
No, the ice wasn't down. I know it was the same year the Rangers went to the but the ice wasn't down. It wasn't down. But it was a fun watch. It was like one of the most unique experience, and the Knicks won. So thank God for that. Now another memorable moment in that finals was also the OJ.
That was the only game I didn't watch at home.
Yeah, and that was a weird because we couldn't watch it anyway because they cut into OJ riding his Broncos. Now the Knicks won that game. Am I mistaken?
They won that
game. They did.
Yep.
And the reason I don't remember because that was the same night of my senior prom. So that was like my senior prom.
So we both had unique experiences that day. I was, and we had our class trip earlier that day to Howe Caverns. You ever been there?
No, I don't know.
Big ass cavern upstate.
Okay.
I was so hyped, and I remember OJ being a conversation. Mm-hmm. And since that night, I've been obsessed with OJ. Well, the
story. I think everybody. It took over everybody.
Yeah, of course. I'm not unique with that, but that night, I obviously just didn't understand how big it was.
Mm-hmm.
If that happened today, the game would just go on some social media. It would be easy.
Oh, absolutely no. Nothing like that would interfere with anything.
But it was 1994, and there was points where not only was the game on a little part of the screen, there was the points where the game wasn't even on at all.
Yeah, that's what I remember. Yeah.
Fortunate enough to talk to people in the building that night on my shows over the years, guys like John Starks and Charles Oakley and Derek Harper, and they were having conversations about the chase during the game. In fact, they had the chase on in the locker room at halftime.
Yeah, that makes sense. It was
people that were at the game. If you watch highlights from that game, there's empty seats because people were in the hallway
watching OJ.
That's crazy. Now listen, I get it. If I was 10 years old, now listen, obviously I consider myself the biggest Knicks fan in the world. If I was 10 years old in that game, there's no way I'm leaving my seat. But I guess if I was older, is there a chance I would have went in the hallway, maybe missed the third quarter? I'd like to think no, but understanding how big it was, it was a major event. Yeah,
it took. I remember recording it. I had it on a VHS. I recorded the game and went home and watched it. And I'm just looking at the Bronco. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I didn't come home for this. I wanted to watch.
Now, did you know that OJ and AC Al Callens, his right hand man,
were
to the game?
They were what? Going to the game?
No, they were listening to Game 5.
That's hilarious. Yeah, it was that I didn't know that, but it would make sense if they were.
It came out way years later. Al Callens had ran into Jeff Van Gundy somewhere, and Al listening to the game.
Wow. Yeah. That's hilarious because like AC was like, OJ, come on now. I wanted to watch the game. Why you gonna act up now? You know what I'm saying?
Come on, Juice. Come on, Juice.
Come on, Juice.
By the way, best Twitter handle ever.
Oh, OJ is off the chain, man. OJ just his whole Twitter handle, it's
amazing.
His takes, it is amazing.
The fact that he doesn't have a sponsor, I mean, I guess it'd be tough to sponsor him, but
Yeah, but he's one of a kind.
He's not verified yet.
Huh?
He's not. Twitter didn't verify him.
Yeah, they probably don't want to. They're probably like, let's stay away from this.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue. Yeah, let's continue with the '94 final. So, like every game, it went to Game 7. Talk about your reaction for Game 6, because that was the game where it could have been. I remember making plans. I called a friend, like, "Yo, if they win, we're gonna run outside and just go crazy for Game 6." So Game 6, yeah.
Yeah, so Game 6, it was a Sunday. I watched it in my living room with one of my best friends in Conklin, and John Starks is on fire. And I'm like, yo, we're gonna win the championship. I remember being down 2 or down 1, whatever it was, for that timeout. And I just said, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I was just like, we're about to win the championship.
Yeah.
Or we win the championship. And I kind of said the same thing you did. I was like, I'm just running outside. Like, I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
Sure enough, John starts the ball. Ewing goes to set the screen. Ewing rolls, but Olajuwon didn't go with him.
Yeah.
There to block the shot. And it didn't go in.
Barely blocked the shot, too.
Barely blocked the
shot. Yeah. So that would have been a big deal if they won, but we move on to Game 7. So, we got some technical difficulties here. Hello? Got some technical difficulties. Let's see what's going on. Hold on. Hey, you there? Hey, me. Yeah, we talked about the '94 finals. That was a big deal. The OJ trial took over the finals. That was big. And then Game 6, Starks misses the shot. Well, Olajuwon, who was on fire that whole time, hits the shot, blocks John Starks' shot. And then Game 7, they lose. They go. John Starks has the worst game of his life, and he doesn't recover for Game 7. We're having some technical. Hopefully, we have Anthony back on in a bit, but then I guess I will talk about the fandom I had. Hold on, that's I'm here with you guys. All right, so Anthony's gonna start. I probably got to send him invite again. Let me try this. It's live, people. That's what happens when you have live things. It's fine. It happens. It's part of life. You're at home, not doing anything better. So just stay with us. Something like, but yeah. Knicks go on to lose the 1994 finals in 7 games. But locally, the New York Rangers won the Stanley Cup Finals in 1994. So we had something to celebrate. So, we had that. And then, the Knicks, through the 90s, they were great, but not so much now. 95, Ewing misses that finger roll. 96, they got outed in the first round of the playoffs. I remember going to the second round of the playoffs against the Bulls. Yeah, Bulls, that's when they won 70-something games, and they won 70-something games, and that was a big deal. So, we're waiting for Anthony to come back and continue this conversation. But thank you for everybody who's watching. I hope you're enjoying it. I will have other guests on as well with to express their fandom for their teams. And thank you for anybody who's watching. We're not done yet. Anthony's going to come back. And there he is. He's back. He's back with us. All right, Anthony, I don't know what's going on in the Bronx, man.
No, just the computer. The computer wasn't that charged. Pretty simple stuff.
All right. We're back. We got back 94 finals. So we talked about Game 6. So now Game 7, Starks has his worst game of all time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, didn't
couldn't put the ball in the ocean.
Yeah, not the results we wanted, but
no,
Rockets win Game 7. Yeah.
I watched that game.
Yeah, go ahead.
Watched that game in my bedroom by myself.
Me too.
Whole second half I watched with the lights off. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I was allowed to watch it. I wasn't like sneaking it. It was just
But it was just. You were emotionally invested in the game as was I. I remember like after the game was over, I punched my closet door and I pushed the TV. I took the TV out the plug.
I always thought we had a chance, but I mean the only play I really remember from that game, and I only watched it one more time after, and it was about 12 years later, was down 5. Vernon Maxwell hit a 3 to put it to 8.
Yeah.
And jumped up and down, and to me, that was the play that sealed
Yeah,
it.
that killed it. Yeah, that sealed the deal.
Yeah, it was devastating. But again, I'm 10 years old, so I'm like, we'll be back.
Yeah. Well, at the end of
that 93 hurt, but 93 was my first experience. Pretty much.
Yeah.
94 was like, bury me 6 feet under the ground.
Yeah, 93 realistically, the beat the Jordan and the Bulls, that was a lot. That was a tall task for any
we were
team.
up 2-0.
Yeah, but that was a tall task for any team.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So let's move forward from the 94 finals. 95, we're back in the playoffs. Second round, Indiana Pacers. Did you go to, what was your first playoff game? Was that during that time? Or that's way after?
My first playoff game wasn't until 1999.
Okay, so we'll review the years till you get to 99.
Yeah,
so 95, Knicks lose. Second round is the first round they beat in 95 with the Heat. Was it? Damn.
First round 95 would be Cleveland.
Cleveland, yep. First round 95 we beat Cleveland.
Yep.
Second round we Indy. Close game. Game 7. Ewing misses the finger roll. People say he should have dunked it. Well, who knows? But
obviously, when you think of 1995, you think of the finger roll. You think of Game 1. Another game was a Sunday afternoon. I was watching in my living room. Weekend games as you watch in the living room. That game in the living room, you're up 6 with 18 left, and it was a nice day, and I remember I wanted to go outside. Now, what's weird to me about Game 1 and the 8 points in 8 seconds is, first off, if the Knicks are up 30 in a playoff game with 18 seconds left, I'm not, as a fan, and I'm not saying I'm a better fan than anybody else. The Knicks are up 30 with 20 seconds left in a playoff game. I'm not leaving till the buzzer sounds.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah.
Weird to me is when I hear stories of older people about that game, of all the people that turns it off. Like, it was, granted, up 6 with 18 seconds left and you should probably hold that lead.
And this was a Sunday afternoon because I'm a quick story. I was at church and I recorded the game. Came home, my father turned on the fan and it's like, Knicks lost. I'm like, well, and I hear it. I'm like, oh, please, I didn't want to hear that. So I go home and watch the game, rewatch the game. I was like, nah, they didn't lose. They must have been bugging. They must have got false information. And then I watch, I'm like, oh my God. And then
but I can't believe all the people that either turned the game off or left. Like, that's weird because it's only 6 points. But anyway.
And it's a Sunday afternoon too, so it's not like you're in a rush to go anywhere.
Besides, and I don't have the game on, so I don't remember. I have a great memory, but as great as Reggie was in those 8 seconds, the Knicks had one of the worst meltdowns ever. Between Anthony Mason's horrible pass, Ewing missed some free throws, Starks missed some.
Yeah.
Ewing missed the chip shot. Like, Ewing got an offensive rebound, and then he missed the chip shot. And then the last play of the game, was it Greg Anthony that fell?
Yeah, it was like some voodoo. It was very voodoo, Space Jam type of.
So besides, credit to Reggie Miller for what he did. That's still incredible. And even we were tied, right? And then Ewing, I think it was Ewing that missed 2 free throws, or we missed 2 free throws. And then they foul Reggie. You don't foul when you're tied.
Yeah.
It was just, again, credit to Reggie Miller for what he did. But that whole 18 seconds was such a catastrophic meltdown.
Yeah, it was more the Knicks' fault than Reggie Miller's.
Right. Again, what he did was crazy. To catch the ball off the steal.
Yeah. It was a combination of a lot of things.
Yes.
Going the wrong way. Yeah.
Then, of course, again, 2 weeks later on a Sunday afternoon, I actually watched that game at my friend Nick New's house across town, and I just, that whole game we were down, but I was fashion. We made a comeback.
Yeah, they were crawling back.
Now we're down 2, and the Knicks are inbounding, and could Ewing have dunked it? I have no idea what it's like to be, 1, that athletic, and 2, 7 feet tall.
But
sure.
Yeah,
but when he went up, I actually had my fist pump ready to go. For
yep.
And then, it really didn't go in.
Yeah.
And I didn't react. I didn't throw anything. I didn't say.
Yeah, you just numb. It was a numb.
I just said to Nick New and his dad, See you later.
Later, yeah.
Hold my bicycle.
Rewind quick back to '94. How did you feel? I guess when the Rangers, like you were a big Rangers fan. How you?
Yeah, I was pumped. I
feel?
was a bigger Knicks fan. Oh, I was excited. I mean, I watched every Rangers game just about that play.
Yeah, that was a big deal, and it helped me like get into more. Like I was always a Ranger fan, but just casual. I'm still like my hockey knowledge is okay for a black guy. It's really good, but but the Rangers winning, and I remember both teams supported each other at the time. Like you would see the Rangers players
you see Anthony Mason
games, with the Rangers jersey. Yeah, I remember all that. Yeah, so it was like it seemed like it was just it just seemed like destiny at the time. You know what I'm saying? But just like, and for them to get that close and then not to happen. But at least we got a parade in '94 at the end.
Yeah, but imagine with the Knicks parade. I mean, listen, the Rangers parade was amazing. There was millions of people, but imagine the
Knicks parade. Yeah, it would have just been awesome. All right, so we move forward. '95, we were crushed. '96, I have a good memory of '96, but '96, we sweep Cleveland in the playoffs and lose to the Bulls in 7. One of my memories.
We lost to the Bulls in 5.
Lost to the Bulls in 5.
Yeah, I mean, I never. Again, I was in 7th grade. I never thought we had a chance against those Bulls.
Yeah, and that was the greatest team, one of the greatest teams, not the greatest team.
No, that's the greatest team ever.
Yeah.
Games 1 and 2, the Bulls dominate us. We win game 3 in overtime, and game the next day, game 4, we were about to win, and we ended up losing, I believe, in overtime as well. Obviously, even if we win game 4, there's no way. I don't think there's any way we beat the 70-win team Bulls. But still, I mean, like '96 didn't crush me. I mean,
and that was. Real quick. Let me tell you. I went to the overtime, the game 3, the only win against.
Starks had a 360 layup that game.
Yes. Yep. I went. That's the first playoff game I went to, and let me tell you how I got these tickets real quick. I waited online for hours. Probably I left my house, went to the Garden 6 in the morning, line wrapped around the corner.
The day of the game or?
No, when the playoff tickets went on sale. I just remember keeping track of I think the paper or calling Ticketmaster frequently. But I went there. I remember the day of the morning, they went on sale, waited, got there 6, 7 in the morning, line around the corner. I probably didn't get my tickets, got to the front of the line, didn't get my tickets maybe 4 in the afternoon. The games, if you remember, playoff games were labeled as a letter. You had playoff game, home game A, playoff home game B, et cetera, et cetera. So I ended up getting playoff home game C. So playoff home game C would either be game 5 of the Knicks Cleveland first round series. But
so real quick, they changed it a few years later, but keep going.
But since they swept Cleveland, we got to see the first home game they played against the Bulls.
That's interesting.
So that was like, me and my cousin were like, holy shit, we're going to see Michael Jordan and the Bulls. I remember buying 4 tickets, 4 of us. We're like, wow, we're really seeing Michael Jordan, Dennis Rodman. It's the greatest thing. And the Knicks won. That was a bonus. And 2 people I also bought were diehard Michael Jordan fans.
Yeah.
So we were all happy running around. That was first one of those experiences. We waited after for autographs. Patrick Ewing walks right by us. He was the nicest guy. But I mean, he was all business.
Signing autographs, probably, right?
Yeah. No. All business. Starks the same way. Pippen came out. It was a great experience. But those one of the best experience. One of the best experiences I ever had. Playoff game. Knicks won. John Starks goes off 360 overtime. You saw Jordan at his best because he hit a shot to break the game in overtime. So Jordan, you saw everybody at their best at our.
Where were your seats?
Way up there. 4 or 5. I still have the ticket, but I remember it was home games, and either then game 5 versus Cleveland or the first home game against the Bulls.
Even if we didn't sweep Cleveland, there's no way we were gonna go a deciding game. Danny Ferry.
And then that's the team, and that team then the changes started implementing a little bit. I think that was that same year they traded Charles Smith, where we got Brad Lohaus. I remember
we got Brad Lohaus, Reed, and Willie Anderson.
That was a weird. The changing of the guard was happening, and also that's when they were into those alternate jerseys. Remember with the black trimming?
Yeah, they started that year only for the road uniforms though.
Yeah, they were bringing them, and then I think 97, 98. That's when they went full time with the home uniform looking the same way.
Yeah, 97. Yeah, in 96, 97, they had the road uniform.
They still had the
regular at home. And then
they had the third. That's when everybody was. The NBA was introducing those third jerseys.
Right, and then in 97, 98, we went.
They went
white with both jerseys. Right. Home
yeah. So 96. Fast forward to 97. New York, new look team. Larry Johnson comes in. Chris Childs, Allen Houston comes in. It's a different. We still have our same pieces: John Starks, Charles Oakley. So the original piece with these two big additions. Larry Johnson had that huge contract. Allen Houston, we signed him for a good penny. Chris Childs, who was coming off a great year with the Nets, comes in. Buck Williams off the bench, and it's like, and
he was back. Listen, that team to me was their most talented team.
That was a stacked team, as a talented team. The second unit was great too. We had John Starks coming off the bench, Buck Williams. That could have been another starting like five. I wanted Herb was still there. I'm trying to remember the other pieces.
John Wallace, Walter McCarty.
Yes, that's when the draft. Dante Jones. Yeah,
Dante Jones.
Yeah. So the 96-97 team was good. We end up winning a lot of games.
57. 57.
Yeah, 57 wins. Go on. We were second seed, I believe.
Third seed.
Third seed. Then we get to
Miami had home court advantage.
Playoffs. Miami had home court advantage. That was the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yep.
And we were up 3-1, right?
Up 3-1, yeah, of course.
3-1, and then the brawl
happens. The fight happens. I remember the end of Game 5. We're about to lose, but at the same time, I'm like, whatever. We're going back to the Garden for Game 6, and then a fight breaks out. And at the time, I didn't even know they changed the rules. With
the bench, if you even step foot off the bench.
How many fights did we have before where the guys left the bench? So the fight happens. I'm like, whatever. We got these motherfuckers in Game 6. And then a day later, you open. Obviously, there's no internet really. You open the paper, and 5 Knicks suspended. Allen Houston, Larry Johnson, John Stark, Patrick Ewing. Now it was interesting how they did the suspensions. Charlie Ward got 2 games, so he went Game 6 and 7.
Yeah.
What they did was in Game 6. Patrick Ewing and Allen Houston didn't play, as well as Charlie Ward. And then in Game 7, Larry Johnson and John Starks didn't play, as well as Charlie Ward.
Yeah. So, that season goes down disappointed. The Heat go on.
Oh, that was horrible.
Yeah. Heat won in 7.
We beat the Bulls twice that year. And every game we played them so well. And remember, the last game of the season in Chicago on a Saturday night, the Bulls were on 69 wins, and Trust wanted 70, and the Knicks went in there and got the W.
Yeah, amazing.
That gave them supreme confidence that if we face the Bulls this time,
it's a possibility we beat them.
Now listen, is it a definite fact the Knicks would have won? Obviously not. There's still the 96-97 Bulls, an incredible basketball team. Well, boy, oh boy, I wanted to take a shot at them. And
then we gave them a run for their money, and who knows, they might move on to play Utah. Yeah. So we move fast forward 97-98. The Garden hosted the All-Star game.
Yep.
For the first time. Yep. Did you participate in any All-Star?
I did. I got some cool gear. I went to a Knicks game. I only went to one game that year. That was on a Saturday night versus the Sacramento Kings in November. I got a bunch of All-Star gear from Cosby's. It was very exciting.
Nice. Cosby's. Tell us about Cosby's and how it's a staple at the Garden for a long time.
Cosby's was in the lobby of the Garden. So if you were going to a game, chances are that you always went in there and looked around because they had some dope stuff. And they also used
that you couldn't afford.
And they also used to make the uniforms. And they don't anymore, obviously, but they used to. And also, you were going to a game and you were meeting a friend or a family member, you met at Cosby's. That's it.
That was
Meet you in front of Cosby's.
You see all the jerseys, not just Knicks jerseys, but every sport jersey known to man. You're freaking out because you see the stitching and the authenticity of the jersey, and you're like, "Oh my god!" Guys, how much this cost? $200. You're like, "Oh, okay, don't worry."
Right. So if you were going to a game, you were meeting at Cosby's, and for those that don't know, Cosby's is still open. It's on 31st and 7th in the block, but it'll never. You go in there. I've gone in there. It feels a little bit, but nothing will ever feel because it was like an old store, like
Very old, very vintage.
No, it was so
You
unique.
see rappers there. I remember running into Fight Dog there one time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Man. I mean, everybody knew
yeah.
about Cosby's, man. And
Yeah.
it's a shame that it's not there anymore. I mean, it's there, but it's not there. You know,
It's not there.
It was just so cool, man. It was so cool.
Yeah. Anyway, I remember '98. When the All-Star game was here, I ended up going to the jam session at Jacob Javits.
Yeah.
I remember buying the tickets at Ticketmaster in a Rite Aid. I remember bringing my nephew. It was pretty fun. You see like all the All-Stars, like, and they were practicing for the rookie game. You see like guys like Keith Van Horn and like, other players that were there. It was a cool experience. And '98 is disappointing because that's the game. Ewing, the year season, Ewing went down.
It's a shame that Ewing didn't get to play.
Yeah, and then from there, Ewing didn't play in the All-Star game. But watching that All-Star game on TV and watching it at the Garden and seeing, like, since we know, how the Garden operates, and you see, like, how did you? What was your reception to that game and watching it?
I mean, it was amazing to watch. Obviously, I was Kobe. I mean, it wasn't his coming out party, but you could make a case that was Kobe Bryant's coming out party. Obviously, we all knew he was going to be great. But, I mean, Kobe.
I'll be honest, I didn't know how great he will be. I remember the year before.
Of course, nobody did. It was the second year. Nobody knew how great he would be. But
I think, wasn't he a write-in vote? Or he was on the ballot.
Yeah, he wasn't.
He was on the ballot, but he wasn't a starter. I remember Eddie Jones started most of their games that year.
But did he make the All-Star team as a starter that year?
Yeah, he did. Because he got voted
start. Usually
when you vote, remember one year in '94, the All-Star game, B.J. Armstrong started.
Did he?
Yeah, '94 All-Star game. The backcourt was B.J. Armstrong and a good buddy of yours, Kenny Anderson.
Now in Minnesota.
Yep, yeah. So that was like, it was just, we got B.J. Armstrong. Not saying no disrespect to him, he was a good player, but starting an All-Star game, So, yeah, in '94 that happened. So, 1998, that All-Star game was pretty cool. You still there?
Yeah, but what I really loved about it was that it was interesting looking back how a lot of the older players, especially like Karl Malone. And Karl Malone, all that motherfucker did was complain. But
Karl Malone, I met at Modell's. Oh, not Modell's, Sports Authority. It was across the street. I have a cool picture of Polaroid with me and Karl Malone. It was pretty cool.
And Karl, like, he was so mad at Kobe, and Kobe just like he took over. Like, he easily could have played that All-Star game and only shot when he was open or deferred to other guys. But he was like, the world's watching. Especially he plays on the West Coast. Game started 10:30. Kobe knew the entire world was watching, and he made sure, like, if you weren't talking about Kobe Bryant before that 1998 All-Star game,
you definitely were.
You definitely talking about him after that 98 All-Star game.
And those All-Star games were a little bit more the old school mentality of, we're here to win. We're not here to showboat and, alley-oop all day and play, run the score up. We're here to win. And most of the All-Star games back then were pretty competitive.
Yep, and Kobe put on a show, and had the West won, he would have won the MVP. But
definitely.
Like always, Michael Jordan won the MVP.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Patrick Ewing injury. How did you feel? Remember that game against the Bucks?
Yeah, so that night, it was a Saturday night versus the Milwaukee Bucks. That Saturday afternoon, I was in the 9th grade team. I had a basketball game, and my grandmother dropped me off at the game, and she wasn't feeling well. So, there's no cell phones, there's no social media. So after my 9th grade game, I noticed my grandparents weren't in the stands. Someone came up to me and was like, we saw an ambulance at your house.
Oh, no.
My grandmother had a stroke that day.
Oh, man.
They had to bring her to rush her to the hospital. So I was with her, or maybe I was home that night. My grandpa was with her. I don't remember. But either way, I didn't watch the game that night. The next day, I was at the hospital all day. I didn't have the internet yet. I didn't have a computer yet. I didn't watch Sports Center. I didn't watch MSG Network. Now, Monday morning. So it happened 30-something hours ago. I get a call from a friend. I'm sorry about your grandmother, blah, blah, blah. But, like, did you hear about Patrick Ewing? I'm like, did I hear about Patrick Ewing? He's out for the season. I was like, what?
Oh, man. Yeah,
So it was a double whammy for me that day. And, we really saw a coming out party from Allen Houston after that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
F.A. Gundy, after that injury, really coached his ass off. And beat Miami to make the playoffs as a 7 seed without Patrick Ewing, and to beat Miami in that first round. Now,
First round, yep.
Alonzo Mourning getting suspended for Game 5, but the fact that you still beat Miami without Patrick Ewing was, to me, that was a champion, especially after losing in '97 to beat the Heat.
Get their revenge, so to speak. And that started a rivalry between the Knicks and the Heat, which is probably, will stretch on. So Knicks win first round, second round of the Pacers. Ewing comes back, but not
comes back in game 2
against the Pacers. Now, you growing up in Walton and all these Pacers fans, did you have people call and torture you? I guess that.
Oh yeah, all the time. Like, anytime we ever lost to the Pacers, literally as soon as a buzzer would sound, go off. Like, these motherfuckers were so annoying.
Yeah.
They were like the kids that worked on the farms with fucking boots with fucking manure on them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were so annoying.
Yeah. So
98. I don't know if that Pacer team was really good. They took the Bulls to 7, but we were a second away of tying that series at 2, and Reggie Miller with another dagger 3.
Dagger, yeah.
Underrated Reggie Miller daggers at the Garden. He hits a dagger 3 to send that game to overtime. Overtime, we have no chance.
Yeah.
In the series in 5.
Yeah, just with Ewing gone, it was just like, it wasn't the same.
Right.
So, all right, we'll fast forward to the 98-99 season where the Knicks reached the finals again. 1998, a big facelift. We're trading away our fan favorites, John Starks gone. Sprewell comes in. Oakley goes. Camby comes in. Camby didn't play much in the beginning, but we have a new look team with Sprewell.
Very new.
Still here, yeah.
The Starks trade was one of the first trades I experienced as a fan where I was devastated. And I may get killed for this, and I swear, the only person that was in favor of the Oakley, because I felt we were just too slow. I love Camby at UMass. 97-98, Camby led the NBA in blocks. And I know how popular Oakley was. When that trade went down, it was also the same day or the night before the first Yankees-Mets game ever at Shea Stadium.
That was a big deal, yeah. Oh, you went to that one.
Hideki Arabu versus Al Leiter.
Nice.
Home run off Mel Rojas. I was there at Shea.
That was a big deal, yeah.
Everybody was
first
talking
ever Subway Series. That was a big one, yeah.
Yep. Everybody was talking about the Oakley for Camby trade, and I was 14, so I knew basketball pretty well. I'm like, this is a great trade. And
your knowledge heightened. You're like, all right, people are like, oh man, they traded Oakley. And you're like, what? We got Marcus Camby.
Yeah, as a fan, I never experienced getting a young, dope player. Because I had Ewing and Oakley and Starks, and they were great. But we're getting I watched Camby at UMass. I'm like, we getting Marcus Camby?
Yeah.
And I love it. Now, fast forward, the lockout ends. Starks for Sprewell. That was a trade where I knew we got obviously, no offense to John Starks. We got the better end of the deal.
Sprewell was I know Starks went to one All-Star game in '92, but I think Sprewell went to a couple of them.
Yeah, no, I was devastated as a fan because Starks was my hero.
Yeah.
I knew this was a great deal. And sure enough, first preseason game, all the tickets were for free. I guess.
Wait, word?
Yeah, it was a Wednesday night I believe it was January 27th. St. John's also played up in Syracuse that night.
Gotcha.
Lit up Syracuse that night. St. John's But all the tickets were free at the Garden. I guess if you had season tickets, you got tickets. And I believe it was through Foot Locker.
Okay.
Free just lit up the Garden. And I was like, yo, I'm in love with this guy. Sure enough, the regular season is tough.
Yeah, strike shortened season.
Going to the playoffs, everybody knew this is not your average 8 seed.
Yeah.
That's my first playoff game.
Yeah. So that brings us back to the 99 season, one of the most magical. First, Knicks were the first. Well, not the first. All right, talk about the first round Miami series. Remember, we're still in the 5-game format, first round. Best 3 out of 5 wins. So talk about that was a roller coaster of a series.
Yeah, it was a Monday afternoon. We were playing the Celtics that night. If we beat the Celtics that night, we clinch a playoff spot. And we're
Mm-hmm.
Miami, Orlando, or Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
When the tickets went on sale for the regular season that year, back in January when the lockout ended, my uncle always brought me to games. So when I heard tickets were going on sale, I gave him a call. So we get he was like, I'm not putting a penny in their pocket at the lockout. Between the giving any money to billionaires and millionaires that are arguing, I'm not.
Yeah.
I was devastated. And, there was even a time I was coming down to the city in like April. And I looked online on Ticketmaster. And I was like, yo, can we go to this game? And he was like, nope, maybe next year.
Wow.
My grandmother was on the season ticket wait list. She got on it in like 93.
And this season's ticket wait list, let me hold you up. This season was longest because I put on in maybe 94, 95, just in case I came into some money I can afford them. But it was like that season, that Knicks tickets were the hardest thing to get when they were like in the 90s. Right. Yeah.
So now it's that Monday afternoon where me and my friends are playing baseball at the fairgrounds. So I come home real quick, and for some reason I grab the mail, and I see a letter from the Knicks.
Yeah, I think I remember this letter.
And I open the letter, and it says, "Dear Jeannie Donahue, you have basically won the right to purchase Knicks playoff tickets for the first round. You have
of 1999.
You have to call this number and use the code NYKWAIT." I went to my grandmother. I'm like, "Yo, look at this. We're gonna play Miami." She's like, "Listen." She's in a wheelchair, so she can't take me. She's like, "Listen, I got no problem. I'll even pay for them, but your uncle's got to agree." So she called me. She's like, "Listen, we can get Anthony to a playoff game." He's like, "All right, fine." So she calls, and you have to buy both games. So
you have to buy the full series. You can't just buy.
Yeah, so it was
one individual game.
We knew we weren't going to have home court no matter what. Mm-hmm. So buy home game 3 and home game 4 round. So those tickets, and I don't know where the stub is, but I have it. That's worded as round 1, home game 1.
Mm-hmm.
So a few years after you.
Yeah.
So we got round 1, home game 1, home game 2. So
were you offered round 2 as well?
Yes.
Okay.
We got in the letter, we were allowed to buy round 1 and 2, but I didn't push it. We just got round.
Or you had the option to buy one or the other. Like you could either.
I don't remember if it was one or the other, but I just know we didn't even ask for round 2. She just asked for round 1. And sure enough, we play Miami. We win game 1 in Miami, lose game 2, and then Wednesday night, I'm going to my first playoff game.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I have my Patrick Ewing starter authentic jersey. We ate Nathan's across the street at the street. Sitting up on the second floor, just looking at the guard. I'm like, yo, I'm going to a playoff game. And to me, that was the best night of my sports life. As a fan, besides Allen shot, Larry 4-point play, beating the Pacers in game 6, as far as being at a sporting event. But when I think of that night, I don't really think of that many plays because we won that game 97-73. We beat the shit out of them. But what I remember the most about that night, we got there 2 hours early. I was one of the first people in the Garden. I was down by the court watching them warm up. But one of my favorite moments from that game was, so I was at my seats before they came up. When I was watching them warm up an hour before. But once I went back up to my seats with 30 minutes on the clock. So now it's 19 minutes on the clock. The Miami Heat come out for warm-ups. No one's on their cell phones. No one's.
Yeah.
Let me get this for Instagram. So when the Miami come out for warm-ups, the boos were so fucking loud.
Yeah.
You could feel the hate. And then about a minute later, they show the Knicks on the big screen in the tunnel. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Everybody's losing it.
They're blasting New York by Rakim. The whole everybody's in their seat. You know what I'm saying? And everyone's waving our towels, you know what I'm saying? And the Knicks come out for warm-ups, and they come out to Super Thug by Noriega.
Yeah, nice.
I never felt energy like that in my life. And then, when they announced the starting lineup, it's everybody was standing. And nobody was like, "Oh, let me record this so I can."
No. Everybody was standing on their feet.
Everybody was standing and cheering. And then remember, Spree didn't start. So I remember 6-7 minutes into the game, like Jeff calls Spree in. The place goes fucking wild when Spree gets in the game. And we just dominated that game. And Marcus Camby was terrific. Ewing was great.
Who started at small forward at the time? That was
So the starting lineup for that game was Charlie Ward, Allen Houston, Kurt Thomas, Larry Johnson.
Kurt Thomas was the power, and
Spree didn't start until game 4 versus Indiana.
Okay.
I went to games 3 and 4. Game 3, we win 97-73. Game 4, we dominated the whole game. And all the fourth quarter, Tim Hardaway takes over. And game 4, and now you're like, fuck. Back at me again for a deciding game.
And
that game took years off my life watching that game.
Yeah. But setting up so you attended games 3 and 4 live.
Yes.
And then game 5 was obviously Miami. So watching that was memorable because I remember that was like a Saturday.
Sunday. It was Mother's Day.
It was Mother's Day. Okay, that game was on a Sunday. I remember watching that one, and that was another moment where like Allen, let's go through the whole game, tight, one of the closest games you could ever. Yep. Chris Childs had a great game that game.
The score was in the 70s. I mean, that game was tight.
Yeah, just like, and then at the end, that Allen Houston call. Talk about your reaction.
I'm watching live, and I am shaking. And I was just thinking to myself, like, you can't lose this series, and I went to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you're just in real time. And I remember bringing the ball up the court, and if you watch that possession, now obviously you could have a horrible possession and throw up a prayer and go in, but that possession before the ball goes out of bounds was going nowhere.
Yeah.
Free had the ball in the corner. Possession was going nowhere. And then the ball goes out of bounds. And that gave, even though the Knicks didn't have any timeouts, that gave us a chance to call play.
Yeah. And
and they call triangle and down, and Allen comes to the ball and he shoots it, and probably that 2 seconds.
That was like an hour.
Like 2 years. The shot goes up, goes in. I went so crazy, my shoulder pops out of joint.
Wow. Is that the first time? Or
2 or 3 years later.
Wow. So that's the first, like, you went
out of joint.
Out of nowhere?
Yeah. I went so, like, because initially I thought,
wow,
my arms must have went so crazy. It goes in, I go so nuts, my shoulder popped out of joint.
Wow. So you didn't even know your own strength. That was
no. I ended up having surgery in 2002. So I ended up hurting even more as the years went on.
Wow.
But makes that shot, and complete jubilation. And
me too. I remember it like it was yesterday.
And Terry Porter misses the final shot, and you just can't believe what happened. Can't believe what happened. It was like I was crying too. Like you just like that. If we just won that game by 10 points, as happy as I would have been amazing. But to win a game like that
with those dramatics,
oh man, I get chills out of man. I get chills.
And that was just the beginning of that magical run. Sweep the Hawks, beat up the Hawks.
No game was even close.
Yeah, beat up the Hawks, which was because the Hawks were like they were number 2 seed or something? 4. Number 4, okay. But I remember them being good. That was the Christian Laettner, Mutombo.
Yeah, Christian Laettner, Steve Smith, Mookie Blaylock.
Yeah. I was like, I would have, like, back then I'm pretty sure the Hawks were favored to win probably.
They locked. I don't remember even Steve Smith even scoring that series.
Yeah, they just ran through them.
Yeah.
And then fast forward
I did think we were gonna win. I'm like, I did think we was gonna win, but I didn't expect like to sweep them.
Yeah. They were basically the Knicks were the hottest team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They just Fast forward to now the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, unlike I have a story, like same with the letter. I didn't get that one in first, second round letter, but I got the third and fourth round letter. I mean the Eastern Conference and Conference Finals.
So I got the same letter, but
you got the letter.
And they didn't have any.
Oh wow! So I got lucky. I chose I chose the finals.
You did.
Yeah, so I ended up going to
Same code, NYK weight.
Yeah, same letter. So I got to go to all 3 of the NBA Finals games, which was cool to see them in the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Disappointing to see the Spurs win on the home court, but
of course,
we'll get to that in a minute. But I could have had the option of going to the Eastern Conference Finals. What I kind of like it, looking back, I was like, maybe I would have went because I probably would have saw Larry Johnson's 4-point play, which was like any fan I asked, like the old school fans we know, saying that was the loudest the Garden ever did.
The Garden, yep.
And watching it at home, I can see it. So I like, now looking back, maybe I'll trade that. But I mean, I took the chance because like if the Knicks won a championship, that would have been even bigger. Yeah,
you had to take that chance. If it was one or the other, you had to take it.
Yeah, so I took the chance. And without knowing if the Knicks were even going to win, even go that far. To the finals. So either way, I've been asked out of going to anything.
So, I remember actually saying to my grandmother, get the conference finals. But I guess when she called, maybe she didn't like. Maybe she called later in the day, thinking just if you have the code, you're automatically going to get the tickets. But when she called, they didn't have any left.
They didn't have any left. So
yeah.
So the conference finals, I know Ewing's out again. Ewing was out for the most of the playoff run.
No, he played in the whole. I mean, he was big in the game 5 versus Miami. He played back around. His last game was game 2 versus the Pacers when he missed a shot. Charlie Ward threw a Charlie Ward football pass to Patrick. He missed the final shot, and then he was out after that.
I remember hearing like he's out. Like what happened? You know.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my God, not again. That was my first reaction, like not again. Yep. But Marcus Camby was on fire.
Marcus Camby was the best player in that Pacer series.
Yeah.
No answer for him.
Even the Hawks series, I remember Marcus Camby like being
he dunked on another level. And every time he missed a shot, like Marcus Camby was there to throw it down.
Yeah, one of the best players to play without the ball, basically.
Right.
So the Pacers finals. Let's get up to the Larry Johnson game, the 4-point play game, legendary game. That was on a Saturday. I remember because I remember that same night.
That
the Belmont was going on,
and the Yankees Mets.
Yankees Mets. I think the fan had a contest to attend all 3 events.
Really?
Like they would helicopter. Yeah, it was like you go to the game, you get a helicopter ride to the Belmont, and then to the Garden to watch the game. I remember at 99, I worked at Belmont. They always needed volunteer ushers. Well, not volunteer ushers. They'll pay you to usher for the Belmont. It's such a big deal. So I remember working that and then getting home to watch that game. So
that's when El Duque threw his glove with the ball.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep, the flip pass. So that was a legendary moment in New York sports. So talk about your experience watching that game and the setup to the
I was in the city that weekend visiting, and I was watching the game with my uncle, and same way, a little different type of nervousness because it's only game 3. So listen, I'm nervous for a preseason game, but different type of nervous than game 5 versus Miami because game 5 versus Miami, closing minute, if you lose, the season's over. This nervousness was I'm freaking out, but obviously if you lose home court advantage. You're still only down 2-1. Nevertheless, I'm freaking out, down 3, inbounding with 11, 9 seconds left, whatever it was, and just, again, you're just in the moment, and then Larry catches the ball, and Larry hit 2 big threes that game already. One to close the quarter, and he hit another one from like 30 feet out to beat the shot clock. And Larry led the Knicks in scoring that series. It wasn't Allen, it wasn't Spree, it was Larry. So as soon as Larry caught the ball, I'm just like, crash boards, because he's fired.
Yeah.
Once he got in that triple threat, it was over.
Yeah.
And when the ball's in midair, the foul is called. Obviously, you don't have a lot of time to think, but you're like, all right, fine. And then it goes in.
And everybody just loses.
No one ever seen anything like that in that moment. And you're going crazy. But there's so much more emotion left, though. He makes you're going crazy.
Yeah, that's why Larry Johnson like, calm down. I got to make this shot. I got to make the free throw. And then,
you're going crazy. But then you're like, fuck, there's still 4 or 5 seconds left, and they got Reggie Miller.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they inbound the ball. To this day, that was some of the best defense I ever saw. They smothered Mark Jackson so much.
Yeah.
Off the ball. And then, Mark, the Knicks only up one. Mark, even as good as defense that the Knicks played, Mark got up a decent look. Mark it, and it looks like it's going in. It bounced off the rim, and now it's like you thought you went crazy when Larry made the shot. Then you thought you went crazy when he makes the free throw. Now you really won the game.
Yeah.
And now you completely lose your mind.
Yep. Fast forward to that series. They beat the Pacers. Everybody's losing their mind after the series is over, and we move on to the NBA Finals against the Spurs. And that was that series was, Tim Duncan basically is coming out party.
Oh yeah,
Tim Duncan, basically one of the greatest players of all time. Now, you look back, it's like, yeah, Tim Duncan was that dude. And,
he was.
And David Robinson, I remember going to the finals games, and Mario Ellie, New York native, was basically, everybody put him and just gave himself. And they had like Jaren Jackson, Avery Johnson. That was a team that was, they basically, Knicks got one game out of it.
I think they only lost one game in the whole playoffs. That was to the Knicks in Game 3.
Yeah. So, I remember watching, like I was there for Game 5. I remember, we usually end up coming downstairs. We have a good friend, Larry Greenwich. Shout out to Larry.
Did you know Larry then?
Well, remember, Larry was my high school teacher.
Yeah.
But I didn't know he had season tickets. He used to give me Knicks stuff in high school, but I didn't know he had season tickets. Right. And then in '98, I run into him at a game. I'm like, oh, hey, what's up, Larry? He's like, yeah. And then he tells me, if you can, come down during the half. I said, right, blah, blah, blah. And he shows, all right, then come down. And then it was a regular thing from there.
So you were down there for the finals?
Not the whole, because it was like, we couldn't do the stuff we used to do back then. Sure. But then it was so, like, maybe with 2 minutes left in the entire game, I got downstairs. And the game. So I got to see, unfortunately, I think Sprewell was stuck under trying to lay it up at the end, whatever.
For that?
Yeah, I was close, and then I saw the Spurs celebrate.
Yeah, that was tough. That was
the championship. I mean, that took it all in because I was like, all right, it's cool to see a championship game. So that's pretty.
That was the only, as hurt as I was that night, when I woke up the next morning, I was like, yo, that run was amazing.
Yeah, it was an amazing run. And realistically, I mean, we might have had a chance. Maybe if Ewan was around, maybe we take it to an extra game or two. Maybe even
Game 4, we were in position to win both Game 4 and 5.
Yeah, we were.
You could conceivably say a bounce or two here differently. We're up 3-2 going back to San Antonio. Obviously, it happened like that, but we were in position to win Game 4 and 5. Yeah.
So, like, Spurs end up winning the NBA Finals. Knicks win that, even though we lose, it feels good, and they keep the team intact. No major changes. Yep. They basically keep the team intact.
I thought the next year that was one of the only years in my life where I was like, we're winning it all next year. Like,
yeah, definitely. Like, it's revenge.
I was like,
and the Knicks end up winning.
They won 50 games that year.
They won 50 games that year. They end up going to the Eastern Conference Finals again against the Pacers. And who knows if we would have beat the Pacers. But tell us about
those playoffs. I got the letter again that year. Got to go to games. And
I don't remember getting a letter that year, but I think, or maybe because I spent so much money. Well, not a lot of money at the time.
We got the same letter again. And it was NYK Weight 1 or something. It was like they added a number. And
I might have got the letter, but I just couldn't afford the tickets probably at the time.
We went to games
No, I take that back. I did go to game 1 of the 2000 first round of the Raptors series.
Easter Sunday.
Yeah, I did go to the Raptors series.
And we beat the Raptors, and the Raptors dominated us that regular season.
They did, yeah.
So I can't front, man. I was a little worried going into that series.
Yeah, that was dope. That Raptors series.
We swept them, but every game had you sweating.
Yeah. So first round we beat the Raptors. Second round we play the Heat again, which is like now it's a legit rivalry. We're playing these guys every playoff game.
And that game, it was back. Miami game 1, we win game 2. Miami wins game 3, we win game 4. Miami wins game 5, we win game 6. And then here we are again, game 7 in Miami.
Yep.
We win that game by 1 point.
Yeah, I think Clarence Weatherspoon with the shot at the end.
Final shot. We win that game by 1 point, and then we face Indiana, and I thought we were better than Indiana, and we lose games 1 and 2 on the road. We win games 3 and 4 back in New York. We go to Indiana for game 5, and we're up 20 in the first half of game, and then we just fall apart. We lose. And we lose. Then we lose game 6. Now, where I was, not necessarily happy, but where I was somewhat happy the day after. Oh, sorry, excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm recording something here. So where I was somewhat. Excuse me. I'm recording something here. Sorry. Thank you. So where I was somewhat happy in '99, after the series was over, like, okay, wow, that was pretty amazing. This year, 2000, was the opposite. So we lose that night in game 6, and I was completely devastated. Now, obviously, I did not know what was going to take place the next 20 years. Mm-hmm. That night, I walked across the town by myself, like in tears. I didn't know. I didn't know we would only see the Knicks win 1 playoff series in the next 20 years. I didn't know that we would only see the Knicks finish 3 seasons over 500 over the next, only make the playoffs 4 times over the next 20 years. But I was devastated that night. More than 93, more than 94, more than 96.
Oh, because you were older and you understood the significance
more than
of the
96, game. More than 97, more than 98, more than 99. Wow. I was devastated. I thought we should have been. And also, I thought the best team in the league that year, regular season wise, was the Blazers.
Oh yeah, I remember.
We played the Blazers twice that year and beat them both times. So I was expecting a Knicks-Blazers finals. And I had confidence. Sure enough, it was a Lakers-Pacers finals.
Yeah.
And the Blazers were up. No.
Was there Rasheed Wallace, Damon Stoudemire?
So I thought, we win this series, we play Portland, we're champions.
Yeah.
And maybe it was the basketball gods telling me the next 20 years are going to fucking
suck. Yeah. And then
that night, I was devastated for weeks. And other series I got over. I mean, you never get to be honest. But, that one, and to this day, that one still hurts me the most. Because everybody talks about, 93, 94. Nah, for me, 2000 was the worst.
2000, because it was a good team. Yeah. All right, we fast forward to 2001. They lose the first round of the Raptors. That series, like, you kind of knew how it would play out. And you became a season ticket holder that same year or the year after?
No, I became an official season ticket holder in 2004. I was on the wait list. I think I could have bought some in 2002, 2003. I would whatever I wanted. It was fairly easy to get tickets. Yeah,
because after 2001, the playoff run, it just went like the stock of the Knicks was just declining.
So what's interesting is that, now I'm going to use this term very loosely. 01-02 was the first season in my life where the Knicks were bad. Never experienced quits. And
that is true.
03, looking back, Don Chaney did a great job. We won 37 games, barely missed.
That was my first year. I had season tickets.
So barely missed the playoffs. McDyess is out for the year. That was devastating.
Yeah, we picked up Antonio McDyess in the draft day trade.
Missed the first 9-10 games of the year.
I remember the preseason game. He got hurt. Yeah, just like that.
Right.
Was it. Yeah.
No, he punched a yacht.
Didn't he get hurt in the preseason game?
No, McDyess did.
Yeah, McDyess did. That's what I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah. He, on a play with 10 seconds left. So now the 03-04 season starts.
Yeah. And getting back to, because then Yeah, because now that's the year. Like it didn't start off well, but we made some transactions with the Stephon Marbury trade. So going into the Marbury trade, how did you feel about that?
Well, so no, that's where I want to go back to before that.
Oh,
During
my bad.
the Yankees had just lost to the Marlins.
Yeah, that 03, I remember.
That was probably the height of me being into baseball. I was so Yankees Red Sox series. I went to the World Series versus the Marlins.
Nice.
Start that year, you know, you don't even know if McDyess is going to play or not. The season starts like trash, and this is where I say I'm using this very loosely. I lost interest in the Knicks for about a week.
Oh, a whole week.
I went. Obviously, I was going like the 03-04 season started. I went to almost every game leading up to the Murray trade, but I was using this very loosely. I was just losing interest. I hate this shit, you know.
Yeah.
Then like we hired Isaiah because I hated Baden so much.
Yeah.
Then we hired Isaiah, and that gives me a little juice as a fan because you're like, okay, maybe something's changing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marbury, I lose my shit because I love.
Yeah, everybody, Marbury, New York City icon. Yeah, got him in a trade from the Sun.
That year, we make the playoffs. You know, we get swept by the Nets. But then that summer, we signed.
That's the Fugazi playoff game. Tim Thompson.
I went to games one. I went to games 1 in Jersey. I went to games 3 and 4 at the Garden. Game 3 intro at the Garden. They have Marbury on the big screen, and
I went to that one too. Yeah.
And
talk about real quick. Go back. Talk about Marbury. Did you go to Marbury's first game?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was.
How was that experience?
That was just as hype as the first Melo game. I mean, it was on fire. The ball goes in the air, and we're literally down 25-2.
Yeah. Oh, that was against the Rockets, right?
Yeah. So they came out and Van Gundy half-court trap Marbury every time.
Yeah.
And they were literally up 25-2 or something.
Yeah. We
make the playoffs that year. We get swept. But we have Stephon Marbury in his prime. Yeah. That's when I actually got.
And then now let me tell you, during your losing interest, remember the Nets were good. Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
And probably the prior years before that, when Jason Kidd was leading the Nets, did you ever think for one second that the Nets would probably, I wouldn't say take over the New York area, but make a buzz?
It broke my heart. It was like the Nets. Now I always wanted to see the Nets be good, but now the Nets be good and we suck.
Yeah.
I always wanted to see them good at the same time.
Yeah, and people think, and the thing is, the reason why Knicks fans, I believe, are so passionate and everybody roots for the Knicks because the Nets always played in Jersey. You know what I'm saying? So there's really no connection. If they were the New York Nets, maybe it's a different story, but they were always the New Jersey Nets and they were always outside. And I think still to this day, it's not going to change.
Yeah.
So,
So that definitely was devastating, but I was so hyped for Marbury. So when we traded for Steph, we probably had 20, 25 maybe 18 home games left.
Penny was included in the trade too. I was a little happy, but I know Penny was past his prime. But I was like, we got Penny.
Cool. I went to almost every home game after we got Steph. I was. Yeah. That week I lost interest again. A week. I was rejuvenated.
Okay. All right. I
got my season tickets that summer. We had Lenny Wilkins, and I thought we had a team ready to roll. And sure enough, we were 16-13 on New Year's Day. And announced that he was the best point guard in the NBA, and we literally finished the season 33 and 59. So
a lot of losing years. I want to fast forward because I know you got to go. I want to fast forward maybe to the 2000 year back in the playoffs until 2010, 2011. A lot of time has changed. A lot of new faces.
Tons of new faces.
A lot of new coaches. The 2010 is a big deal because Melo came. Talk about you already have season tickets. Now you got we got a big star again.
Yeah, I was obviously beyond excited to get Carmelo Anthony. Obviously, at this point, I'm working in sports. I've already I've interviewed all my Knicks icons, my heroes. Then I knew the game a lot better. I knew how it worked, and I was hoping that we would get him as a free agent. Obviously, I would probably do the trade again. but I loved Wilson.
Yeah, I was one of the few that were like, all right, it happened. And at the end of the day, it probably, I mean, Melo at the end of the day tried his best. And the Nuggets really, I don't think that, because I remember when they traded Raymond Felton, we got Raymond Felton back eventually. Of
course, I wish Melo just came as a free agent, but you had to do it. I'm not mad at that. And we literally got Carmelo Anthony in his prime, and so excited. And dude, we won one play, and it's not Melo's fault. We won one playoff series. I never would have predicted. And like to get Carmelo again, it's not Melo now. To get Melo, but nothing went right. We get Amari. We could have drafted Amari in 2002. We get him. Literally,
a lot of missed draft picks.
The first 2 months of Amari, he was ridiculous. And then he pulled. To me, everybody blames Amari's knees, and obviously his knees eventually went out. But killed Amari was his back when he messed up his back in the layup line before Game 2 versus the Celtics.
I remember that. Oh my goodness, really?
Like who?
Like really?
Back in the layup line of a playoff game, he was never the same after that. And so we never really saw Melo and Amari together at their best.
Yeah.
They never got them a point guard. So it's great you have Melo and Amari. You got Tyson Chandler, dope. But who's your point guard? Tony Douglas on opening day. Yeah. So just so frustrating.
Yeah.
We had 2013. I really thought maybe we could have beat Miami, just like I thought. Maybe we could.
All right, fast forward 2011, we beat this. Get swept by the Celtics. 2012, we lose in 5 by the Heat. The rivalry's kind of back again, but we lose in 5 to the Heat, the LeBron team. 2013 was the year things get better. We get Jason Kidd, Rasheed Wallace, free agency.
Yep.
We win the game. We win the division. And the buzz is back. We're like, oh my goodness, we got these old guys, but we're winning again. Get Kurt Thomas back.
You had Melo in his prime.
Melo in his prime, Amari, Chandler, J.R. Smith, who won the 6-man that year.
They was playing great basketball.
Yeah, a lot of Kidd and Felton were in the backcourt.
Yep.
And it was a good team. We win the division, beat the Celtics in 6. And then lose to the Pacers in 7, which was because I remember we handled the Heat that whole year, 2013. We beat them 3 out of 4 times, and they're like, all right, in the finals of Heat, we might give them a run. You know what I'm saying? But the Pacers got hot. Paul George got hot, and then I remember going to one of the playoff games, and it just didn't pan out that year. But we won the division.
It didn't. Like a lot of people.
Yeah. And we fast forward, the year after that, Linsanity starts.
Well, no,
Linsanity's before. We skipped Linsanity. All right, Linsanity was, let's talk about Linsanity. I remember going with you that game, and you had the suite tickets.
Yeah.
And we're like, what the hell are we watching right now? Linsanity is a big part of history.
It was only 2 weeks, but it was the nutty. I remember, the Lakers game where, you couldn't believe he could do it again. And then it just didn't make any sense. You knew it couldn't last, but it just didn't make any sense. But it was an amazing 2 weeks.
Oh, it was fun. I remember usually when the Knicks stunk, I would get calls from Larry or Chris or anybody hey, I got tickets. Didn't get a call. Didn't hear any after you hooked me up with that first game. Didn't hear from anybody again. I had to go to Orlando for my sister's wedding, and we went to see them play in Orlando against the Magic. But Lynn was out with an injury, so I didn't get to experience it again. But Linsanity was one of those rare things that probably will never happen again. But it was a great time.
Crazy. It was insane.
Great time. And then after that, it's been very, very dismal. 2013 or
also the Pacers in Game 6 in 2013. I was devastated. I put that up there with 2000 for me personally. But as the weeks went on after, I said to myself, listen, we got Melo in his prime. We're back.
Yeah.
Next year was probably the most hyped I've ever been for a season.
Mm-hmm. And then that's the year they change their uniforms. They take the black out and they go kind of traditional. Yeah.
And then, sure enough, 30 games in, we're 5-25.
Yeah.
So many games early that year in the last minute. Like we were basketball. We would lose if the games were 46 minutes. We probably would have been 25-5.
5, yeah.
The second half of the year, we play amazing. We even have a 10-game winning streak. We missed the playoffs by 1 game.
Yep.
Woody gets fired, and literally nothing's the same ever again.
Yeah, Mike Woodson here was like good. I was like, he was one of the few good ones. And then, like, you know, we have a laundry list of coaches, laundry list of players throughout those years. Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's tough.
And then we see a glimmer of hope when Porzingis gets drafted. We don't know what to expect, but he ends up turning like. Talk about draft day when KP got drafted, and
I mean, I didn't know much about
nobody knew. Yeah, nobody knew. But it wasn't the name. It wasn't the name we wanted to hear. I think Justin Winslow was available.
Yeah, but I mean, personally, I was like, whatever. I wasn't mad. A lot of fans were, you know, definitely wanted to give it a chance. And KP was great. And
yeah, he was.
Couldn't stay healthy. And then the start of the 2017-2018 season when Melo left, KP was incredible.
Yeah. And
then
thought that things were coming up.
Like, all right, he's gone for a year and a half, but you never think you're not going to see him in a Knicks uniform again. And then we trade him for cap space.
Yeah, and it was the end of the era basically. Now talk about the year before that.
Durant. I think they thought it was a done deal.
Oh yeah. But real quick, talk about the year before that when we got on paper we had a pretty good team with Derrick Rose, KP, Melo, Noah. It looked on paper. It looked like, all right, this team could. Courtney Lee. It's like, this team could be good.
You know well, that team was pretty. Their record was pretty good up until Christmas Day. We were 6-13 on Christmas Day, going against Boston. Played really well that game versus Boston. Ended up losing in the last few seconds, and then that season goes to shit. And you know,
I remember that season starting. On paper, I looked like this team should be like second, third seed. And then after a month, I'm like, all right, they should at least get home court.
Right. And January, like, well, maybe we'll make the playoffs.
Yeah, we should make the playoffs.
And then, of course, you know,
Brandon Jennings coming off the bench.
Yeah, but then where the season's just over and everything goes wrong.
Yeah, and it was just really, really bad. And then fast forward to that, KP makes the All-Star game but gets injured.
Oh,
yeah, it's like, you know, just like it's a new start, new season, and then brings us up to the day where, you know, we are where we are. You know what I'm saying? We do the right thing by clearing cap space, hoping KD comes in, hoping we get these major free agents, and the draft doesn't go our way. I mean, we do have RJ Barrett. We still hope, you know, now our season ended abruptly. We don't know.
One time they changed the draft rules, we have the worst record. You know?
Exactly.
You just really can't make this up.
Yeah. So, that's a recap of our fandom. I guess I'll ask a rapid fire questions and I'll let you get out of here. Anthony, this has been dope, man. I appreciate it. All right, real quick. Favorite Knicks piece of memory you own?
I'm not a huge memorabilia person. I'm authentic game used jersey David Lee gave me. He wrote to Anthony, the #1 Knicks fan. That's pretty cool. And I'm looking at him now. I got all my playoff towels too.
Nice. Favorite celebrity you met at the Garden or dopest, huh? Spike?
I mean, like I would say Kiss because Jadakiss and I became actual friends. But like I met, you know, my meeting with Spike was pretty crazy because he came up to me. He recognized me from my show.
That's insane. Yeah.
I would say my story with meeting Spike is the craziest.
Wow. All right. So, that's about it, man. Yo, Anthony, thank you so much. This has been a walk down. I knew we could probably talk for days with Nick. We'll probably talk after this, just all the memory. There's so much to cover, but like, this was a dope experience. Guys, check Anthony out. He's everywhere. Biggest Knicks fan, a good friend. Anthony MSG, Twitter, Instagram, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep, you can follow him anywhere. Anything 30th, 3rd, and 7th, if you want to listen to that. Orange and Blue Coat, hit him up for Knicks fans experiences. He's giving great fans good experiences too. So hit Anthony up. Anthony Donahue, I love you. I thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Well, thank you. Peace.
All right, man. All right, guys, that was Anthony Donahue. We hope you enjoyed our debut episode of Rooting for Laundry. Next week, I'm going to have my good buddy, actor, comedian Neil Charles. He's going to talk about his love for the Miami Dolphins. So if you're a Miami Dolphins fan and you want to listen, it should be a fun listen. Neil Charles will be with us. So check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Root for Laundry. That's our handles. And I hope you watch this and you had fun. I had fun talking about Knicks. It's a big passion of mine. Thank you for listening and be safe. Stay safe with all the stuff going out there. Just be safe, be good, and peace.